Coming up in SVG-TV News and Sports this evening at 7, SVG missing out on yachting revenue, says Minister Shallow. U.S. court hears dispute over Maduro's defense funding. Trump administration sets out 15-point Iran peace plan via Pakistan. And in sports, CWI confirms management plans for Jaden Seals, Shamar Joseph and Alzari Joseph. These and other stories coming up in SVG-TV News and Sports this evening at 7.
Good evening and welcome to SVG-TV's News and Sports for Friday, March 27, 2026. I'm Jessica Campbell with the details. Member of Parliament for North Leeward and the Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation and Sustainable Development, Dr. Kishore Shallow, who also holds responsibility for marine development, says St. Vincent and the Grenadines is well positioned to develop its yachting sector. During a radio interview this week, Minister Shallow noted that approximately 36% of the yachts that travel through the Eastern Caribbean pass through the country's waters. However, there is currently limited capacity to serve them. Dr. Shallow explained that with the development of the Otley Hall Marina, the country stands to benefit significantly from this yacht traffic.
It's still longer in St. Vincent and Grenadines. They would spend obviously more money. And that is what we want from our tourism product. We can't have yachts passing through our shores and, whereas they just go elsewhere to be serviced. While they would love to service here, but the facilities, the infrastructure is simply not here. So that is one of the things.
The minister, whose portfolio also includes sustainable development, said the government must strike a balance between increasing visitor arrivals and preserving the natural environment.
And again, is looking at the infrastructure you have and what you could really facilitate. Every extra visitor that we have here, is a burden on our resources, right? Whether it is waste management, garbage, anything to do with that. And so what we have done is, and I'll just use Sailing Week, but the Sailing Week we have is really being hosted to boost our tourism product, right? The SVG Sailing Week. You can imagine it means more movement of yachts, gathering, and anywhere there's gathering, there's a chance that waste and littering and so on. However, we are establishing a green campaign to ensure that that doesn't happen, right? To ensure that, items, and notice you have a water bottle on the table. We are avoiding those things. We want to ensure that whatever we use, is recycled, could be recycled, and renewable stuff. That is what we are encouraging as well. And this is supposed to be consistent throughout our tourism product. That you have to ensure that it is sustainable, not financially, but I'm talking now from an environmental perspective. Yeah.
Pointing out that tourism is the cornerstone of St. Vincent and the Grenadines' national development, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism et al., Dr. Tamira Brown, told participants at the inaugural networking event hosted yesterday at the Sandals Resort by the SVG Hotel and Tourism Association that the sector is not just about occupancy rates or visitor arrivals. She said it also encompasses entrepreneurship, livelihoods, and the preservation of national pride. Dr. Brown said the theme of the networking event centered around collaboration is fitting. She noted that while the Ministry of Tourism can do a great deal, there is a strong need for partnership and collective effort across the industry.
And beyond that, I want us to be very attuned to the current momentum in the industry. Yes, we are seeing increasing numbers, but what we want to also see with that is the increasing collaboration, because together we can do so much more. And this is why I really want us to have more fora like these, because it brings us together, it keeps us connected, and it helps us to realize our gains even quicker.
Dr. Brown also encouraged participants to pay close attention to the sustainability of their businesses, emphasizing that whatever they do, they must consider the preservation of the natural assets of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
As the Minister said, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a beautiful destination, and we all have a part to play in its preservation. So let's not put profit above all else, but I encourage good corporate social responsibility, and I encourage us to be mindful of how we utilize our natural resources so that together we can really have this destination, not just for now, but for many generations to come.
Vice President of the SVG Hotel and Tourism Association said it is important for businesses with different perspectives to come together with a shared goal of strengthening and creating consistency within the industry.
We have a great product in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, something truly special. But it only grows when we create opportunities like this to showcase it, to talk about it, and connect around it. If there's one thing I take from today, it's this. Don't let it stop here. Follow up with the people you met. Continue the conversations. That's where the real value is. And more than that, keep connecting. Connecting with each other, connecting with the island, connecting beyond to the region and to the world. As private sector, we have more influence than we sometimes think.
Some representatives of various service providers said they were happy to be a part of the first networking event hosted by the SVG Hotel and Tourism Association.
Ricardo Adams, Chairman of the Carnival Development Corporation, CDC. And I just want to say it really is a pleasure for us to be here at this wonderful event, because, you know, Vincimas is an expression of culture. And our culture is not only the music and the costumes and the steel pan that we put on stage, but our culture also encompasses what we eat, what we drink, where we go, you know. And we collaborate a lot with the people in the tourism sector. The hotels are really important partners for us. The tourism authority, because through the Tourism Authority, we do our international marketing, etc. I'm really happy to be here.
My name is Asher Blucher. I am the Managing Director for Resolve Lab and Training Solution, a 3-pillar company that is set up for mediation, training and development, and small business consultancy. Being here at the SVG-HTA forum, networking forum, it was a great opportunity to connect with other like-minded persons, as well as being able to hear from the Minister of Tourism and other persons within the ministry what is expected. The SVG-HTA did a phenomenal job in bringing partners and local agencies together, bridging the gap where there is a need. And I'm trusting that the forum does just not stay here, but rather it would continue to grow beyond what it was today.
Hi, morning. Kwesi Lockhart, SVG Taxi Association member and PRO for the Airport Taxi Association. This trade fair is one that we look forward to. I think it's the actual first, subject to correction, but it's really a good thing to see the stakeholders in the tourism sector to see what they have to offer. And we as taxi operators, you know, we often been sidelined, but now we are actually moving from where we used to be to where we want to go in the future. We are just not taxi operators. We are tour ambassadors. We actually sell St. Vincent. You understand? We actually explain to our guests what St. Vincent has to offer. And it's something that we've been working on with other drivers, and we'll be urging them to come on board. Don't be on the sideline. So seminar like these, we could actually be known to the public of what we really have to offer. All right? Thank you.
Farmers and agriculture technicians in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are now better equipped to boost hot pepper production following a comprehensive training program supported by the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations. The initiative, carried out under a United Nations Technical Cooperation Program, brought together local stakeholders in the agriculture sector for a series of theoretical and practical sessions aimed at improving productivity and resilience in hot pepper farming. The training was facilitated by hot pepper specialist Luke Lee and covered a wide range of critical topics. These included seed selection and nursery management, land preparation and crop husbandry techniques, irrigation and fertigation, pest and disease management, as well as post-harvest practices and record keeping.
To understand how the whole hot pepper production, it's a sequential activity. So you don't think of it as one module is important than the next. Each module builds on each step within the linkage in the hot pepper production system. But for simplicity, we break them up so that you can manage the modules in a more organized way.
Senior Agricultural Officer Karomo Brown stated that the training represents a significant step toward building a more resilient and competitive agricultural industry in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, while supporting farmers in adapting to evolving environmental conditions.
What is missing is a bit of marketing, which we'll touch on a bit later. So after these classroom sessions, we'll be going to do some field demonstrations. What we have planned so far is that we have two different sets of field demonstrations. There's one slated for the leeward farmers and one for farmers on the windward side. So what this field session would entail is that we're going to look at some of the lessons that we would have learned during the first 2 classroom days. So for example, we're going to be looking at your land preparation. What's the best land preparation methods that you should apply? We're going to look at your irrigation, how to set up your irrigation systems, how to install your venturi pumps, how to do your layout, how to do your plastic covers, and we're going to touch a bit on how to mix your different types of fertilizers.
The program forms part of ongoing efforts to strengthen the country's agricultural sector by addressing long-standing challenges such as low productivity and the impacts of climate change by enhancing technical knowledge and practical skills. The initiative aims to improve the quality and consistency of hot pepper production across the nation. One fatality in a motor vehicle accident at Overland. This and other stories when we return with more local news. Stay with us.
Welcome to SeaStar.
Welcome to the upgraded SeaStar Limited,
where we offer to almost all your household items.
They've expanded their range to sofas, dining and patio sets, beds and mattresses, wardrobes, kitchen cabinets, office furniture. That's just a few from the luxurious collection. Not forgetting their signature quality windows, doors, rails, and bathroom enclosures. Journey on up to SeaStar, where their friendly sales clerk is happy to assist. SeaStar Limited, where quality meets style.
A funeral service should be one that you can be proud of. One that leaves lasting memories of your loved ones. And that's where you need the New Haven Funeral Home. We are proud of the quality and class we have brought to the industry. We are proud for having trained the very first certified embalmers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are proud of leading the way in terms of live streaming of funerals online so that your family members overseas could also be part of the celebration of life. We're constantly improving our services. We are driven by customer satisfaction, and we are proud of all that we do.
New Haven Funeral Home. Introducing 2 new Instacash games. Yes, 2 more chances to win more money instantly from the National Lotteries Authority. Get the new $2 game, Win It All, where you can win up to $2,500. And there's Stacko Cash for $3 with a top prize of $5,000. Win It All and Stacko Cash, new Instacash games loaded with lots of prizes. Available at all Lotto agents. Instacash, so easy to play, and you can win instantly.
Beautiful white and black sand beaches, lush mountains and valleys, rivers, hidden waterfalls, and multiple islands and islets. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are a friendly people, welcoming tourists from all over the world with exotic boutique and luxury hotels and a hospitable business environment. Let's make all tourists welcome at our international airport, on cruises, on yachts, on sailboats, on land and sea tours, at beach lines, at our restaurants, shops and bars, and at our national festivals. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Tourism is everyone's business. Live it, love it, embrace it.
Tourism is everyone's business. Yeah. Live it, love it, embrace it.
Welcome back. The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is investigating a motor vehicle accident that occurred at Overland on Thursday, March 26, 2026, at approximately 5:20 p.m., which claimed the life of one person. The SVG Police Force says preliminary investigations indicates that a white Toyota Hiace van registration number H8660 was traveling from Georgetown to Sandy Bay with 18 passengers, along with a conductor and a driver. When on reaching the area near the bridge by the antenna at Overland, the vehicle reportedly went over an embankment. Police responded to the scene and rendered assistance. Mary Bracken, a 74-year-old domestic of Sandy Bay, as a result of injuries sustained in the accident while at Georgetown Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center. 2 persons remain hospitalized at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital receiving medical attention. The RSVG Police Force extends condolences to the families and friends of the deceased. The Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force wishes to advise that the earlier statement indicating that Amos Lavia died at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital today was incorrect. Lavia is alive and remains hospitalized, receiving attention. With the Easter holidays approaching and the country preparing for Vincimas 2026, Sergeant of Police Jared Lewis is shedding light on key alcohol laws, licensing requirements, and how individuals and businesses can responsibly participate in the upcoming festivities. Speaking on the Cop Chat program this week on WeFM, Lewis discussed the topic, understanding liquor license, compliance, and public order, and addressed the growing concern among small shop owners. He noted that many believe having a liquor license automatically permits them to play amplified music.
Having a liquor license, as the inspector said, is not permission to play amplified music. You have to apply to the Commissioner of Police to play amplified music, and you also have to state the reason why you're applying, whether you're having a function, having a blackout, or something. So you, not because you have a liquor license being granted to you is for you to sell intoxicating liquor, not permission for you to up your music, as the inspector stated.
Lewis clarified that a liquor license does not grant permission for amplified sound, and that separate approval must be obtained to legally play music at high volumes. In addition, Lewis emphasized the responsibility of vendors when serving alcohol. He stated that it is illegal to continue selling alcohol to individuals who are already intoxicated, and that service must be refused in such cases.
If you have a liquor license, you're not allowed to sell someone who's already intoxicated.
That's
and
an
also,
offense.
you're not supposed to allow someone who's intoxicated to remain on the premises. All those are offenses against the act. So when someone is intoxicated, you are responsible to tell them, okay, you have enough, leave, I'm not selling you. You ain't supposed to sell someone who's intoxicated anymore. If a guy come and you see he wasted and you come and call, you ain't supposed to sell them.
This is
It's an
interesting.
offense.
He warned that failure to comply could result in penalties as authorities aim to maintain safety and order throughout the carnival period. Furthermore, Lewis addressed the issue of underage drinking, describing it as a persistent challenge. He suggested that existing laws may need to be revisited to better address the problem.
We think the law need to bring that into perspective. The liquor license person asks for identification before they sell alcohol. We have this thing where a whole heap of children consuming alcohol when and buy alcohol. So I think the law need to be revised to let them ask for IDs before selling alcohol and be strict on it.
He encouraged parents, vendors, and the wider community to play an active role in preventing minors from accessing alcohol. U.S. court hears a dispute over Maduro's defense funding as sanctions bar Venezuela cash. This from the region. When we return, stay with us.
The Ever-Ready Funeral Home at French's is your friend in times of grief. With over 40 years' experience, they are prepared to take care of all your funeral arrangements. Embalming, lowering device service, grave mattresses, carpeting, vaults, tombs, and wreaths. Arrangements for television obituaries. Cremation is available upon request. Ever-Ready Funeral Home offers the finest in caskets and coffins, local and imported. So, in your time of need, call Ever-Ready Funeral Home at any time. 456-1494. Ever-Ready Funeral Home, offering service above self.
Listen, the big hardware stores have been ripping off Vincentians for years with their high prices. Then came General Hardware with the lowest prices ever in SVG. Now, the big guys are scrambling to drop their prices, but they still can't beat the General. So don't let them fool you. General Hardware still has the best prices on lumber, plywood, and steel. And even with a sale, the General beats that too. So go on, compare prices. Then come to General Hardware and save dollars every day. Because nobody beats the General. Nobody. General Hardware Supplies, located next to Yvette's Pork City in Arnesville. Call 453-9000.
Since 2012, we have provided reliable, professional dialysis services in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are now proud to offer you new solutions for your health problems. Each new solution is being delivered to you with the same high degree of care and professionalism. We also use the best technology in the delivery of our services. So, does your doctor need a precise view of what's happening inside your body? Let us perform an ultrasound for you. Ladies, if it's your breasts, then choose our mammography service. For all issues related to men and women's health at any stage in your life, our team can perform the necessary investigations to put your mind at ease and recommend solutions for your problems. If it's to see within your chest or check for broken bones and fractures, then use our state-of-the-art U-Arm X-ray service. For you aging men and women, we can now check your bone density, which will reduce any complications that may arise with overall bone health, osteoporosis, or arthritis. Health Solutions will provide answers and results in a timely, accurate manner in the most comfortable environment, while you are taken care of by well-trained and experienced staff. Please call us today at 451-2836 or 434-3170, or visit us online at healthsolutionsSVG.com. You can also follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Health Solutions, where we are providing solutions in SVG with care.
In news now on the regional scene, a judge appeared sympathetic on Thursday to legal arguments that ex-Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, should be allowed to use Venezuelan government money to fund their defense. Maduro and Flores' attorney asked the judge to dismiss the narco-terrorism case against the pair because the U.S. had denied them the use of funds due to sanctions in place against the Latin American country. We have more in this report.
There's a heavy security presence here outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, where media from all over the world have gathered, as well as demonstrators, both those celebrating Maduro's arrest and those calling for his release. It's the first time we've seen Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores since his stunning January arrest, when he was brought here to the courthouse, shackled in a helicopter. Inside, he didn't speak, but listened. The main argument before the judge was who will pay for his lawyers. Under the U.S. Constitution, he has a right to a defense, and his attorneys say he doesn't have money of his own to pay for lawyers, but the Venezuelan government is willing to back him. But the U.S. government argues he can't use Venezuelan money due to U.S. sanctions on the country. They describe that as tainted funds. Now, Judge Alvin Hellerstein noted that this would be a very complicated and costly case to defend, especially for a government-appointed public attorney. He also noted that this is an unprecedented case. He didn't make a ruling or set the next court date. Kristen Salumi, Al Jazeera, New York.
That's the news from the region. The international news features coming up next. Stay with us.
TVs, fridges, cookers. We make your life so easy. Just come in and see us. A wide range of furniture. Right here at Singer. Affordable beds and mattresses. Right here at Singer. Washing machines to make your laundry clean and fresh. Singer is a family store that gives you the best hire purchase deals. Right here at Singer. We'll outfit your home. Right here at Singer. The #1 family store. It's us with Singer.
Introducing 2 new Instacash games. Yes, 2 more chances to win more money instantly from the National Lotteries Authority. Get the new $2 game, Win It All, where you can win up to $2,500. And there's Stacko Cash for $3 with a top prize of $5,000. Win It All and Stacko Cash, new Instacash games loaded with lots of prizes. Available at all Lotto agents. Instacash, so easy to play, and you can win instantly.
Quality products, quality care, low prices, great customer service, all at QCare Pharmacy. QCare leads the way, providing all your pharmaceutical needs, a variety of personal care products, and so much more. Located on Halifax Street. Telephone number 451-2690. QCare Pharmacy, where the Q stands for quality.
Courts is giving you the chance to experience the Caribbean's premier music and arts event, the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. Every Courts purchase of $2,999 or more from now to April 23rd gives you a chance to win an all-expenses-paid trip for 2 to enjoy the music, the flair, and to create unforgettable memories for you and your guests. Don't miss this opportunity. Shop today only at Courts, bringing value home. Conditions apply.
Welcome back. On the international scene, at a White House cabinet meeting, the administration outlined a 15-point framework for talks with Iran circulated via Pakistan. Vice President J.D. Vance tied the process to the threat of further strikes if negotiations fail, saying the U.S. has the tools to stop Iran acquiring a nuclear weapon. Here's more in this report.
It is my distinct honor.
As Donald Trump's cabinet gathered at the White House an insight to the peace talks underway with the Iranians.
I can report to you today that we have, along with your foreign policy team, presented a 15-point action list that forms the framework for a peace deal. This has been circulated through the Pakistani government, acting as the mediator. And this has resulted in strong and positive messaging in talks, as you just indicated to the press.
And confirmation too that Vice President J.D. Vance is involved, with the threat of further strikes if those talks fail.
Military options, but what we have now that we didn't have when the president took over just a little over a year ago is the ability to use every tool at our disposal to ensure that Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon.
Donald Trump started the day on social media describing Iran's negotiators as different and strange, adding, "They're only looking at our proposal wrong. They better get serious soon before it's too late." Trump initially gave a 4 to 6 week window for Operation Epic Fury. He insists they're ahead of schedule, which has forced Iran into talks.
So we estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve our mission. 26 days in, we're really a lot ahead of schedule. The Iranian regime is now admitting to itself that they have been decisively defeated. They're saying to people, this is a disaster. They know it. That's why they're talking to us.
Donald Trump revealed that the gift the Iranians gave him earlier this week to prove that they were serious was to allow 8 oil tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz with no incident. This, he believes, shows that the man they are talking to has power and credibility. But he warned if the Iranians weren't serious about peace, they would, in his words, keep bombing them anyway.
That's the news. Sports is just ahead, but before that, let's take a look at the local weather forecast.
The weather report sponsored by General Hardware.
Listen, the big hardware stores have been ripping off Vincennes for years with their high prices. They came General Hardware with the lowest prices ever in SVG. Now, the big guys are scrambling to drop their prices, but they still can't beat the General. So don't let them fool you. General Hardware still has the best prices on lumber, plywood, and steel. And even with a sale, the General beats that too. So go on, compare prices. Then come to General Hardware and save dollars every day. Because nobody beats the General. Nobody. General Hardware Supplies, located next to Yvette's Pork City in Arnesville. Call 453-9000.
And now for a look at the local weather forecast. Present conditions: cloudy, winds northeast at 13 kilometers per hour. Temperature 25.9 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity 81%. Barometric pressure 1011.1 millibars. 24-hour rainfall 1.4 millimeters. Today's maximum temperature 28.7 degrees Celsius. Today's minimum temperature 21.6 degrees Celsius. Sunset today at 6:16 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow at 6:03 a.m. Forecast: fair to partly cloudy and breezy at times with a few showers. Synopsis: the Atlantic high-pressure system is the dominant feature.
The weather report was sponsored by General Hardware.
Life can be stressful. Work, family, finances, it all adds up. Feeling overwhelmed, struggling with relationships, need help managing stress? You don't have to go through it alone. The Employee Assistance Program, Public Service, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, EAP, is here for you. We have confidential and professional counselors ready to listen and offer support for any personal challenge you might be facing, helping you find balance and get back to feeling your best. Call us today at 784-570-6718 or email eap.mps@gov.vc for more information, because a healthier you is a happier you. At the Employee Assistance Program, Public Service, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, your well-being is our concern.
Welcome to the evening sports. We heard that Cricket West Indies has confirmed the availability and management plans for 3 of its frontline fast bowlers. Jaden Seals, Shamar Joseph, and Elzari Joseph, ahead of what promises to be a packed and demanding international season. Seals and Shamar Joseph are both set to feature in the West Indies Championship, but in a carefully managed capacity. Seals becomes available from April 9th and is clear to participate in rounds 1 and 2 of the competition. Shamar Joseph comes online from April 13th with managed practice sessions for the Ghana Happy Eagles permitted before the date. Elzari Joseph, meanwhile, will miss the championships entirely as he has been granted a no-objection certificate to compete in the Pakistan Super League as part of his recovery from an extended injury absence. Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket Miles Bascom says the plans are deliberate, keeping the trio fit and sharp for a home series that includes Sri Lanka, New Zealand and Pakistan before the Caribbean Premier League CPL. That follows tours of India and Bangladesh, rounding out a packed calendar for Caribbean cricket. The St. Vincent Grammar School and the Central Leeward Secondary Schools have once again dominated the National Inter-Secondary Schools Athletics Championships. The 2026 ISAC competition was held yesterday, Thursday, March 26th, at the St. Vincent Beach National Stadium in Diamond. With 400 points, the St. Vincent Grammar School won the boys' division for the 45th time. Barley Secondary School placed second with 288 points, while the St. Martin's Secondary School finished third with 174 points. In the girls' division, the Barley Secondary School amassed 414 points to win the title for the 9th consecutive year. The St. Vincent Girls High School took second place with 298 points, while the Georgetown Secondary School finished third with 148 points. In news from the NBA, Seattle could regain an NBA team after the league's Board of Governors voted to explore adding 2 expansion franchises with Las Vegas and another potential location. The Seattle Supersonics competed in the NBA from 1967 to 2008 before being relocated to the Oklahoma City and renamed the Thunder. After that, franchise was brought by an Oklahoma-based group in 2006. If the expansion is approved, it would increase the number of NBA teams from 30 to 32. Las Vegas has not previously had an NBA team, but has 2 teams in the 4 major professional sports leagues in the United States and Canada. That's all we in sports this evening. We'll be right back to wrap things up.
Listen, the big hardware stores have been ripping off Vincentians for years with their high prices. They claim General Hardware with the lowest prices ever in SVG. Now, the big guys are scrambling to drop their prices, but they still can't beat the General. So don't let them fool you. General Hardware still has the best prices on lumber, plywood, and steel. And even with a sale, the General beats that too. So go on, compare prices. Then come to General Hardware and save dollars every day. Because nobody beats the General. Nobody. General Hardware Supplies, located next to Yvette's Pork City in Arnesville. Call 453-9000.
Welcome back. And now for a second look at the headlines. SVG missing out on yachting revenue, says Minister Shallow. Outlines Otley Hall development as key sector growth. U.S. court has dispute over Maduro's defense funding as sanctions bar Venezuelan cash. Trump administration sets out a 15-point Iran peace plan via Pakistan, warns of further strikes. And in sports, Cricket West Indies confirms management plans for Jaden Seals, Shamar Joseph and Elzari Joseph. And for a recap of the local weather forecast, fair to partly cloudy and breezy at times with a few showers. On behalf of all of us here at SVG-TV, thanks for viewing. I'm Triska Campbell, inviting you to visit our Facebook page for a recap of the news as well as daily headlines. Also, check out SVG-TV's News in 15 weekdays at 12:45 p.m. Thanks for viewing. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
SVG's Heart and Soul. Magic 103.7, 91.5. Today's music, yesterday's hits.
24 karat magic in the air.
Trinidad and Tobago signals a cut in funding to CARICOM, raising fresh questions about regional unity. The Caribbean Court of Justice pauses extradition proceedings involving Guyana's opposition leader, and Trinidad and Tobago on alert after yellow fever is detected in a monkey, prompting increased monitoring by health officials. I'm Renee Sion, bringing you some of the big stories across the region in this Caribbean Week in Review. Regional unity is facing fresh strain as Trinidad and Tobago signals plans to reduce its financial contribution to CARICOM. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has indicated that her government will no longer fund the regional body at current levels following disagreements over the reappointment of CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett. Despite Trinidad and Tobago's opposition, a majority of CARICOM leaders approve Barnett's second term, which is set to begin in August. Persad-Bissessar has been openly critical of the regional bloc, describing CARICOM as not a reliable partner at this time and warning of widening fissures within the organization. The move is significant as Trinidad and Tobago is one of CARICOM's largest financial contributors, providing millions of dollars annually to the regional body. Business groups have already warned that any reduction could have implications for regional trade and cooperation, particularly as CARICOM remains a key export market for Trinidad and Tobago. The development is now drawing wider scrutiny, with one political scientist questioning the process used to reappoint the Secretary General and arguing that Trinidad and Tobago's financial role warrants greater consultation. He says the country's contribution to CARICOM should carry weight in decision-making and that there should be a full discussion and a formal vote on the appointment of the Secretary General.
But first and foremost, we are the highest contributing member. We, Trinidad and Tobago, as a state from inception of the CARICOM, contributes 22% to the budget and to the functioning of the CARICOM Secretariat, and therefore Trinidad and Tobago is a critical aspect. What this is that first and foremost, the decision is not legal. Trinidad and Tobago has also objected, and as the fact that Trinidad and Tobago and or any other member state has objected, and there's a no to the appointment of the Secretary General Barnett to the role, the fact that an objection has been raised, one, there's an emergency meeting that can be called. Two, the Secretary General can choose to resign, or essentially there should be an emergency meeting of heads and a decision taken. The bottom line is, most decisions, according to Rule 24, they first seek to agree by consensus. When there is no consensus, they then move to a vote. And that's where we are. A country, more so Trinidad and Tobago, and any country, as long as there's an objection, there has to be a discussion and a vote in some instances. And that's where the Prime Minister has raised her hand.
CARICOM is moving to provide humanitarian support to Cuba as conditions on the island continue to deteriorate. The regional body has agreed to send essential supplies, including food, medical items, and energy-related equipment, as Cuba grapples with a worsening economic and energy crisis. Across the island, millions have been impacted by prolonged blackouts driven by severe fuel shortages and an unstable power grid. The crisis has also led to disruptions in healthcare, transportation, and basic services, with shortages of medicine, food, and other essentials becoming increasingly widespread. Recent reports indicate that Cuba is operating with significantly reduced fuel supplies, leaving large parts of the country struggling to maintain electricity and critical services. Regional leaders say the aid effort is aimed at providing immediate relief as the situation continues to place pressure not only on Cuba but the wider Caribbean. The Caribbean Court of Justice has paused extradition proceedings involving Guyana's opposition leader Azruddin Mohammed and his father Nazar Mohammed. The CCJ granted a stay during a case management hearing, effectively halting committal proceedings before the Georgetown Magistrates Court. The regional court has also set April 21st for the hearing of the appeal, which will determine whether the extradition process should move forward. At the center of the case is a challenge to the legality of the proceedings, with the Mohammeds arguing that the process was affected by political bias. Their claims were previously dismissed by both Guyana's High Court and Court of Appeal, prompting the move to the CCJ. The court has indicated that the matter will be treated as urgent, with both the application for special leave and the substantive appeal expected to be heard together. The details in this HGP News report.
The Caribbean Court of Justice on Wednesday granted an interim stay of the extradition committal proceedings against Azruddin Mohammed and his father Nazar Mohammed, pending the hearing and determination of their appeal. The decision pauses the ongoing proceedings before Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman, where the two men are facing extradition requests from the United States over alleged financial crimes. The stay comes as the Mohammeds pursue special leave to appeal a recent ruling by the Guyana Court of Appeal, which upheld an earlier High Court finding that Home Affairs Minister Onij Walron acted in administrative capacity when issuing the authority to proceed in the matter. In their filings before the Trinidad-based court, the Mohammeds argue that the minister's decision was tainted by political bias and improperly triggered a process that impacts their constitutional rights, including their liberty and the right to a fair hearing. They have asked the CCJ to set aside the Court of Appeal's decision and to treat their application for special leave as the substantive appeal, while also requesting urgent intervention to prevent the extradition process from advancing. The businessmen contend that the proceedings before the magistrate's court were moving at a rapid pace, with multiple consecutive hearing dates scheduled, raising concerns that the case could be concluded before their appeal is heard. They further argue that without a stay, they risk being committed to prison pending extradition, an outcome they say would cause irreversible prejudice and undermine the purpose of their appeal. The CCJ has since set April 21 to hear the application following a case management hearing earlier Wednesday. Meanwhile, the extradition hearings, which were previously scheduled to continue from April 7 to 10, had already faced delays after the court was informed that Azruddin Mohammed is suffering from dengue, supported by medical evidence presented on Tuesday.
Guyana has lodged a formal protest against Suriname over new charges for the use of the Quarantine River. President Irfan Ali has warned that the move could disrupt trade and economic activity, particularly for operators who rely on the river for cross-border business. The charges are already affecting key sectors, including timber and quarry operations. Guyana says it has raised the issue through diplomatic channels, stressing that the river has long supported trade and movement between the two countries. We get the details from News Source Guyana.
President Irfan Ali announced that Guyana has formally launched a protest with the government of Suriname after receiving reports that the authorities in Suriname have instituted charges for the use of the Quarantine River. The president said the move is particularly affecting timber and quarry operators. adding that the reports of the move represent a troubling development that has implications for economic activities and the long-standing arrangements between Guyana and Suriname.
We sent a diplomatic note some time ago. From what I'm advised from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there was no response as yet. The Foreign Secretary did indicate it to me that the Foreign Minister has engaged him since my post. And we're hoping that this can be dealt with as friends, you know. The Surinamese private sector and businesses enjoy a level of freedom and equity of access here like any local businesses. And for me, reciprocity is very important. And let's see how this goes in another few days. And, you know, as a country, we will have to make the necessary adjustments to ensure that we are not placed at a disadvantage with the other businesses from Suriname, if it's not correct.
The president said Guyana has raised its concerns in the spirit of dialogue and mutual respect, mindful of the importance of preserving the cooperation and friendly relations between Guyana and Suriname. The president also said in the interest of sustaining and strengthening bilateral trade, fostering private sector development, and upholding the principles of good neighborly relations, the government of Guyana hopes that the government of Suriname will give urgent attention to the issue. He said measures of this nature risk creating unnecessary barriers to commerce and could undermine the confidence of businesses that rely on predictable and fair operating conditions.
I can't say about the macro numbers. What I can say is that operators, especially in the timber and quarrying industry, are facing the blunt of this, and you know how important that is for our own development now. So of course there is trickle-down effect throughout the economy.
Mr. President, have you also engaged CARICOM on this matter?
No, this is a matter that is dealt with between two neighbors now, and that is where I think they have to make the adjustment.
A heated exchange in Bahamas' House of Assembly has brought passport fraud concerns sharply into focus. Prime Minister Philip Davis defended his government handling of the issue, insisting stronger systems are now exposing fraud, not enabling it. The debate was triggered after opposition leader Michael Pintard presented a list of individuals under investigation, raising questions about how passports were obtained. Officials say dozens of suspected cases have already been referred to police, with authorities pointing to tighter screening measures now catching fraudulent applications. The issue has sparked a broader political back and forth, as both sides trade blame over how the system was managed. Here's more in this ZNS Network News report.
Parliament's morning session also found the government again defending its efforts to reduce passport fraud and strengthen the system. In doing so, the Prime Minister called out the former Free National Movement and its cabinet ministers for relaxing the passport system back in 2019, a decision he condemned as reckless.
At a time when countries everywhere were moving toward tighter checks, they loosened ours. At a time when the value of the Bahamian passport had to be protected, they reduced the safeguards. And now they want to behave as though they are the defenders of the passport. No way, Madam Speaker.
Opposition leader Michael Pintard, who last week tabled the list in the House of Assembly, sought to defend the former government, with the Prime Minister maintaining the corrective action of the current administration.
The list that was laid, the vast majority of those persons on the list, Madam Speaker, were not renewals. These were persons who were applying for a passport under their administration. So his point that any adjustments we made relative to e-passport renewal doesn't arise in this case. The list that he's referring to are persons who applied for a new passport under them. We did nothing to make that easier.
So when the leader of the opposition waves his papers in this House, let the country know, let the country understand what he's really waving. This is as a result of the work of the Progressive Party's government, where they're enforcing our laws.
We'll have more news right after this break.
Ever been told you can't use Stripe in your country? That was Marsha's reality until she found GloboVest. With GloboVest, she set up her U.S. business in just 3 days. No travel, no stress. She unlocked access to global payment systems, Stripe, Mercury, Wise, and started accepting payments from customers worldwide. Now she runs her online business like a pro professional and profitable, all without leaving home. Since 2022, GloboVest has helped entrepreneurs from non-supported countries get access to global financial systems with speed and support. And if we can't form your company, you get a full refund. No risk, no excuses. So what are you waiting for? Your global business starts now. Visit www.globovest.com.
Four people have been killed after a U.S. operation targeting a suspected drug smuggling vessel in the Caribbean. U.S. forces reportedly engaged the boat during what officials describe as a counter-narcotics mission, though the operation has drawn scrutiny from some quarters. The latest incident brings the total number of people killed in similar U.S. operations to more than 160 since last year across dozens of strikes in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific. The escalation has raised growing concerns among human rights groups, with questions emerging over the use of lethal force in maritime drug interdiction. Health officials in Trinidad and Tobago have issued an alert after yellow fever was confirmed in a dead red howler monkey. The Ministry of Health says laboratory testing detected the virus, stressing that there are currently no reported human cases. Officials warn that infected monkeys are a key early indicator of the virus in the environment, prompting heightened surveillance and mosquito control measures in affected areas. Authorities are urging residents to reduce mosquito breeding sites and take precautions against bites, as the virus is spread by infected mosquitoes. While the situation is not considered an outbreak, health officials say vigilance is critical to prevent any possible transmission to humans. A dramatic rescue operation in Trinidad has led to the safe recovery of a kidnapped businesswoman after her abductors attempted to take her out of the country by sea. Police say the 73-year-old was taken from her home in San Juan by armed men, triggering a coordinated response involving multiple law enforcement units, including the Coast Guard. Authorities say the vessel was intercepted before it could leave local waters, allowing officers to rescue the victim unharmed. Several people have been arrested, and including foreign nationals, and as the investigation continues. The incident is underscoring growing concerns about organized and cross-border criminal activity in the region. The details from TTT News.
This kidnapping took place just after 7 p.m. on Wednesday evening. 73-year-old Tara Polaya was inside of the garage of a San Juan home when four men approached her, forcing her into a waiting vehicle and sped off. By midnight, police said the kidnappers placed the victim aboard a vessel, attempting to take her out of the country to nearby Venezuela. But Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara said, acting on radar intelligence, the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard intercepted the boat approximately 1 nautical mile off the north coast, ending the escape attempt.
Around midnight, the kidnappers placed the victim aboard a vessel in an attempt to take her to Venezuela. But this vessel was intercepted by members of the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. 7 suspects, 6 Venezuelan nationals and 1 Trinidadian, were arrested, and Ms. Polaya was rescued safely and is in good health.
The police service later confirmed that on board the vessel was 6 male Venezuelan nationals and 2 male TNT nationals. The TNT Defense Force later confirmed that an additional 2 suspects jumped overboard during the pursuit in an effort to evade capture. They were recovered later on Thursday morning by a fisherman, who later handed them over to the Coast Guard and then to police. In total, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service said 11 suspects are now in custody, the 8 from the vessel, and 2 males and 1 female suspects who were held at Tyrico Bay. The police commissioner praised the coordinated response, noting that it sends a strong warning to organized criminal groups.
The speed, precision, and professionalism displayed in this rescue demonstrates that Trinidad and Tobago's law enforcement agencies are prepared, united, and resolute in protecting our citizens.
Stay with us. Up next is sports. Time now for a roundup of some of the sporting developments in the region this past week. The International Olympic Committee has introduced a major policy shift banning transgender women from competing in female events at the Olympic Games. The ruling will take effect from the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics, with officials citing fairness and safety in women's competition as key factors. Under the new guidelines, athletes will be required to undergo a one-time genetic screening to determine eligibility for the female category. The decision has sparked global debate, with some supporting the move as a step to protect women's sport, while others have raised concerns about inclusion and athletes' rights.
The policy that we have announced is based on science, and it has been led by medical experts with the best interests of athletes at its heart. The scientific evidence is very clear. Male chromosomes give performance advantages in sports that rely on strength, power, or endurance. At the Olympic Games, even the smallest margins can be the difference between victory and defeat. So it's absolutely clear that it would not be fair for biological males to compete in the female category. In addition, in some sports, it would simply not be safe. Every athlete must be treated with dignity and respect, and athletes will only need to be screened once in their lifetime.
Cricket West Indies has denied Trinidad and Tobago's fast bowler Jayden Seales a no-objection certificate to play county cricket in England. The move halts his switch to Hampshire, with CWI citing workload management as Seales remains key to the upcoming regional and international fixtures. The decision is raising fresh questions about overseas opportunities for West Indies players. The details from TTT Sports.
Cricket West Indies' decision to deny the no-objection certificate has scuppered Jayden Seales' move to Hampshire for the English County Cricket Championship, where the 24-year-old was set to replace Australian Michael Neser, himself withdrawn by Cricket Australia. It's a bitter blow for Seales, who impressed across 10 matches for Sussex in 2024 and 2025, and raises fresh questions about CWI's stance on player development opportunities abroad. TTT Sport reached out to CWI's Director of Cricket, Miles Bascom, for clarification, to which he explained that the NOC was denied due to workload management for Seales.
Jayden is key to our plans across formats. We have a plan for his management heading into a pretty hectic home series schedule, and then CPL, and continuing after that with our tours to India and Bangladesh. So we have a plan for his management, which includes him participating in the West Indies Championship for his franchise, and then going into a couple of camps, and then our home series.
Barbados Cricket is pushing back after Kensington Oval was left off the schedule for all regional and international matches this year. President of the Barbados Cricket Association, Calvin Hope, has criticized Cricket West Indies, calling the decision extremely disappointing for fans and players. The historic venue, often referred to as the Mecca of Caribbean cricket, will not host any tests ODIs or T20s in the upcoming home series. Hope also warned that the move reflects a wider issue, saying regional cricket is being put under distress as fixtures continue to be reduced. And that's sports. We'll be right back.
Ever been told you can't use Stripe in your country? That was Marsha's reality until she found GloboVest. With GloboVest, she set up her U.S. business in just 3 days. No travel, no stress. She unlocked access to global payment systems, Stripe, Mercury, Wise, and started accepting payments from customers worldwide. Now she runs her online business like a pro professional and profitable, all without leaving home. Since 2022, GloboVest has helped entrepreneurs from non-supported countries get access to global financial systems with speed and support. And if we can't form your company, you get a full refund. No risk, no excuses. So what are you waiting for? Your global business starts now. Visit www.globovest.com.
Let's take a quick look now at some of the other stories that made newspaper headlines. Barbados Today posted the headline, Ministry of Health monitoring CHIKV cases in the region. It says Barbados health officials are monitoring a rise in chikungunya cases across the region following an outbreak in Suriname with over 1,100 cases and at least one death. While there are no confirmed cases locally, authorities say the mosquito-borne virus remains a threat, urging vigilance as Caribbean faces increased risk. Residents are being reminded to eliminate standing water and protect themselves against mosquito bites, as prevention remains the first line of defense. In Jamaica, the Gleaner newspaper printed the headline, Education Ministry rallies stakeholders in hunt for 300 students missing from school. According to the publication, Jamaica's Education Ministry is intensifying efforts to locate more than 300 students who have been missing from the school system since last year's hurricane. Officials say the Find a Child initiative has been expanded with teachers, community groups, and social workers enlisted to track down affected students. Authorities warn that displacement and incomplete records are complicating the search as the push to ensure no child is left behind. Those were some of the stories that made newspaper headlines. And before we go, let's take a look on the lighter side. A stuffed animal has done what many of us only dream of, taking a trip to the edge of space and making it back in one piece. The plush toy, named Emmy, was launched more than 116,000 feet into the sky using a high-altitude balloon before drifting back down and, of all places, landing in a tree. The stunt, organized by a tech company, is now being submitted for a world record and was all part of a campaign to encourage children to spend more time outdoors. Though after a trip like that, we're not sure Emmy will be staying indoors anytime soon. And that's where we end Caribbean Week in Review. Join us again next week when we recap the stories making headlines across the region. I'm Renee Sion.